everybody, the X Factor podcast, where we break down, my co-host and I break down that which separates and elevates the game changers in various industries from the also-rans. He's a game changer. I call him JR, but that's just because I know him very well. The rest of you should refer to my co-host as Jon Rennie, Mr. Rennie, Sir John of Rennie, or simply Your Majesty. JR, what's up, kid?
Hey, not much. How you doing, Coach Brew? Good to see you. I like the beard. The beard is growing out good. It's the COVID beard. I like it. It's a good look. You could be Parker's Amish dad at this point. You're getting more Jebediah like every day.
I was going to trim off the stash before the show, put on a straw hat, and dress in all black. But since I don't have the straw hat, that'll have to wait till a future episode where I will surprise the young man, studio boy, with my new outfit. And he'll probably just start calling me daddy. What's up, DFE? That is the DFE right down there. Chip.
Yeah.
Real chip off the old block.
Yeah, James Elliott was reminding us that your call name is Chip from The Beauty and the Beast. So
shout out P1 listener James Elliott.
Yes.
It would be irresponsible of me not to mention that the X Factor podcast, which our website is thexfactorpodcast.com, this podcast is brought to you by
Bottom Gun Coffee and our
Bottom
good
Gun
friends.
Coffee.
Yeah, at good friends at bottomguncoffee.com. These guys are submarine veterans and they make the absolute best coffee in the world. It's what I drink every day. And they got a variety of different blends. You can check them out at bottomguncoffee.com. These guys are great. Good coffee. Don't just, settle for that, whatever Maxwell House or Folgers or whatever that or big coffee brand
meth,
is. Yeah.
Black tar heroin.
Exactly.
You just gave free shout outs to two different coffee brands in the middle of a Bottom Gun Coffee ad, John.
Well, I'm just saying they're not.
We're gonna pretend you didn't just say that, okay?
It's a compare and contrast. It's a compare and contrast. Oh, all right.
Stop. Listen, folks. Our coffee's better than your coffee. Your coffee sucks.
Right.
And you need to step your game up. Get some Bottom Gun Coffee, bottomguncoffee.com, because it will make you better looking, smarter.
Yep.
You will look younger. It takes like 10 years off of your appearance at least. You know how they say the camera adds 15 pounds? Well, Bottom Gun Coffee subtracts about 20. So you're going to look thinner. You're going to look more youthful and vibrant. And it's better than whatever you're drinking. And
that's for sure. That's for sure.
Cheaper than getting crystal meth. And probably has equivalent results in terms of like the energizing effect and your ability to be productive. Your boss will thank you for getting Bottom Gun Coffee because it's going to make you twice as productive at work.
Right. You don't have to have crack
stop
anymore.
For coffee breaks. You won't be distracted.
Yeah.
It is such a performance enhancer that I'm amazed that people aren't being tested for it. I'm amazed it's still legal in all 50 states. That's how good it is. So get yourself some Bottom Gun Coffee.
It is banned from the sport of curling, by the way.
Curling?
Yeah.
Who does that anyway? I mean, isn't that Canadian? That's Canadian.
I thought that was like...
It's the only sport I could think of. But
we built a wall on the Canadian border to keep curlers out of the United States.
I agree. But I was, you think about like sports that you could actually see yourself participating in the Olympics. That's one that I've always thought I could probably do that. The guy with the broom in the front, I probably could do that.
It seems like a bar game, like curling, cornhole,
yeah, darts.
That
wait. They have
thing on the sawdust. What's that called?
Shuffleboard
with the little discs.
Yeah, that's shuffleboard or
bocce ball, darts, foosball. It seems like it's of that ilk.
It is. It is.
Ping
Yeah.
And
pong.
all of those
Ping pong.
bar
Yeah.
games ought to be Olympic events.
Yeah.
They really should, because if you think about it, ballroom dancing is an Olympic sport.
Hmm.
Cornhole and foosball may as well be Olympic sports.
Wait, ballroom dancing is an Olympic sport?
It actually is, DFE. I love how he thinks he needs to fact check me on this show. It's
Well-
part of the young millennials' charm. The disdain
That's
our
funny.
intern has for me is
I know.
shocking.
What he doesn't recognize and realize
Is
is
my
that
genius?
your genius and the fact that you're an award-winning author, right? And
I'm a
that you're
best-smelling author too.
you are a best-smelling author. How about this? I got a book right here, right in front of me, called Beyond Stadium Status by a guy named John Brubaker. What a great book this one is. Parker, have you read it yet?
No, I do not.
All the,
have
he would hate it. All the pages are already colored in.
it.
No, this is a great book. I'm not quite done with it yet, but I'm on 163, so I'm more than halfway through.
Did you
And,
get to the page that has like a heading on it that is the title of your new book?
You
I'm
have
not even
one?
kidding. Shameless plug for my co-host's
Really?
new book. Yeah.
I didn't
Let me
see
If I
that.
can pull up. Let me see if I can find it.
I might have missed it.
Somebody texted it to me. Let me see if I can find it.
That shows we've been working too closely together.
Might have deleted it.
I'd look it up in your table of
I gave you a
contents.
subtle shout out. I gave you a subtle shout out.
I appreciate that. I'd look it up in your table of contents, but there's only one chapter, so
Exactly.
it's hard to
That's
find.
the inside
anything.
baseball. You have to buy it and read the first page to figure that out. Anyway, we are already off on a huge tangent. Today's
Yes,
topic. That's because
Yes.
we're hopped up on. It's because we're hopped up on Bottom Gun Coffee.
we are.
Exactly.
Today's topic is X Factor colleges and universities,
Yes, I love it.
and I am going to take, as you probably could anticipate, John.
Yes,
I'm going to take a rather unorthodox approach to the whole thing.
shocking.
Yeah. So, in keeping with the theme of who goes first, how do you do we do rock, scissors, paper? Do we pick a number between 1 and 10? Do we cut cards? Do we have a tickle fight? What do we do? How do we figure out who goes first today? Flip a coin. Let the DFE choose so he feels in some small way empowered, even though his only 3 jobs are collating, stapling, and making us Bottom Gun Coffee. Let's make him feel empowered today.
Yeah, I think so. As far
Alright.
as his good leadership stuff.
So, DFA, if you could take a break from collating, stapling, bringing our mail in from the mailbox and making coffee, you get to choose which one of us goes first. I guarantee you, I know who he chooses, John.
Well, let's just pick a number 1 through 10. Whoever's closest.
No,
goes
we
first.
already did that. We already played that game. You are being
Oh,
forced to exercise your judgment, use your values to make an informed, educated decision.
All right, Coach Brew, go first.
I thought for sure he was going to pick you.
I did
He's
too. I thought
Constantly. It's disgusting how much this kid sucks up to you all the time. He's like freaking Eddie Haskell with Mr. Cleaver when he's around you.
I know. That's why I like him.
And you know that analogy I just gave? He has no freaking
No,
clue.
not
what I'm
none
talking about.
I
whatsoever.
have no idea.
None.
I have no idea.
Ugh.
But that doesn't surprise me at all. Yep.
Went
There it
right
goes,
over my
right
head.
over his head. Look.
Yeah.
So we're going first here. Coach Brew.
Yes, Coach Brew,
Thanks, Parker.
let's talk about universities and colleges that have the X factor.
I'm gonna ask you a question, John.
Go for it.
What's wrong with colleges today?
They're
In your
expensive.
humble but highly accurate opinion, keep in mind we have time limits on this show. What's wrong with colleges today?
They're expensive, and you get degrees that are useless.
You mean feminist dance therapy is a useless major?
It's not useless unless you are trying to earn a living. Then it would be useless. Yes.
Okay. So Java developer. And when I say Java developer, I mean barista.
Right. I was going to say,
would
yeah,
be,
I think that's
you
what
know, a
most
major.
degrees are, is
Yeah.
Java developer.
So I think one of the complaints that I see with colleges is they're all like, that old saying we have on the show, when you're marketing to everyone, you're marketing to no one. They're all looking and sounding the same.
Yep.
I have, for those of you who don't know, my oldest daughter is in 11th grade. She takes after her mother, so she has really good grades. She's very academically minded and smart. Took the SAT and or PSAT, got great scores. My wife and I were super proud. But then we started to get this flood of mail from admissions offices in our mailbox. And I mean, it's a stack each day, almost like an inch or two thick. And last Saturday, she got 2 letters, and they were white envelopes with the far kind of like the reply return address section was red. And one was from Temple University, and the other one was from, I think, like Miami of Ohio or somewhere. And they were the exact same envelopes with the exact same fake stamp in the top right corner.
Oh, wow.
The the mailing address is in the exact same font. It was sent by the same direct mail company, not even from the university, the exact same direct mail company. Now, what was in the letter was a little different, but they looked identical. So my point being, all these colleges are taking the easy way out. They're being intellectually lazy, even though they're, quote, higher education, the home of learning. And they're marketing to no one. There's no differentiation in most cases.
It's probably not a good idea to study marketing at one of these places, right? When they're taking the
one of the
lazy way
worst
out.
things you can do
Yeah.
in terms of being a marketer is learn marketing from a textbook.
Yeah.
Or from an institution like that. So what I will say is, in your neck of the woods, John, there is one fabulous marketer of their institution and degree programs. His eyes are closed. He is did I put you to sleep, John?
I look like you went to sleep.
Maybe your screen froze. We're doing this on Zoom, folks. So anyway, in your neck of the woods, there's one university that takes the cake, in my opinion, is very X factor because they're very contrarian. They do the opposite of what most institutions of higher learning do. And that is High Point University, which is very near Winston-Salem, North Carolina, the furniture making capital of America. High Point University is basically, it would be like if a Ritz-Carlton hotel and a country club had a love child. That would be High Point University. And the reason I say that is they provide an amazing student experience, and it is luxurious. The grounds are manicured perfectly. There is a 5-star restaurant on the campus.
Wow.
And the students have access to eat at that restaurant once a week. And the reason for that is, or the reason they say it's there is so they can learn, etiquette, how to handle themselves when they go for a business dinner or business lunch at a gourmet restaurant with, a potential employer, customer, client, whoever, boss. Anyway, really, it's marketing. Because what's mom worried about? Where's my kid going to sleep?
Yep.
Where's he or she going to eat? And are those two things quality? Is it safe? Is it comfortable?
Yeah.
Is it the next best thing to a home cooked meal? Well, at High Point, it is. It's like a Ritz-Carlton. In the dorm, they leave the newspaper at your doorstep in the dorm each morning, like you're at like a high quality hotel where they just put the paper in front of your room. So they understand they are catering to, manufacturing a world-class experience where other institutions, it's just the same everywhere else. You won't find that anywhere else. But they take it a step further. And, it's, again, I view this through the lens of marketing, not through the lens of recruitment and retention. I mean, this is like straight up optics, and like for visitors seeing this every afternoon, in the middle of the afternoon, there is someone pushing an ice cream cart around the quad, and the students, they pass out free ice cream to the students who want, like, an ice cream bar or whatever.
Mm.
So you think about this whole scenario I just set up, and I'm not making this up. This is what they really do. Imagine if you're a family on an admissions visit and you see this. The newspaper laid out very thoughtfully at the doorstep in each dorm. A 5-star restaurant on campus. An ice cream cart. They could get ice cream while they're there on their visit, walking through the quad in the middle of the afternoon. I mean, it is just a vision of, it reminds me of like a Disney-esque experience.
Well, it's interesting in a way. Don't they have to stand out, right? In North Carolina, I mean, just within 60 miles from High Point is some of the the greatest universities in the United States, right? Or very very popular universities. You have NC State, you have Duke, you have UNC, you have Wake Forest. You've got all these big name universities like really close by. So how do you
half a dozen colleges right just in Greensboro alone?
Yeah. So how do you stand out? Like, how do you differentiate yourself? To your point, when you're looking at prospective parents, and they know Duke because they see him on the basketball, or UNC,
Yep.
or Wake Forest. They hear these universities because of their sports programs, right? But so how does High Point stand out? And it goes right down to X factor type of stuff, things we talk about all the time. Like, how are you going to stand out from your peers, especially in a crowded market like North Carolina universities?
Yeah, and if you're listening to this thinking, why are they talking about this? What colleges? This has nothing to do with me. It actually is freaking everything to do with you and your business. Think about how many of your competitors are within a 60-mile radius, to John's point.
Yep.
Within a 60-mile radius of your either business or place of employment.
Yep.
And then just expand that bubble out and look at the footprint, how many more competitors there are. Is a crowded, commoditized marketplace. And if you're not being different, you're going to be invisible. You just give me another red and white envelope that looks the same as everybody else's in the mailbox, so to speak.
Well, the other side of it too is that there are bigger universities out there, right? But they are trying to be better, not bigger.
If you want a bigger university, you're not looking at High Point. They know who they're marketing to.
Right.
It's not cheap to go there. I'm going to pull up the cost of attendance. It's not cheap to go there. They know that too, but one of the reasons I think that they are so different is because of their leadership. So cost of attendance, total cost before aid is $54,700. After financial
is that a
aid,
year?
Yeah, $38,877.
Wow.
According to the scholarly journal and research periodical known as Wikipedia. So my point being, they know who they're marketing to. They know who they're not. They're marketing to the affluent. And the affluent tend to be the people who are a little more recession proof too, which right about now is really smart. And the reason they are focusing on the experience, and they haven't always done this, it's because of their leadership, John. Do you know who their college president is?
I have no idea. Even though I live not too far away, I have no idea.
So his name is Nito Kubain, and he is the former president of Great Harvest Bread Company.
Oh, I know who he is.
Former president of the National Speakers Association. He is a speaker, author. He's an entrepreneur.
Yeah, I know who he is.
He's created essentially a very entrepreneurial university. And that is an X Factor institution if I've ever seen one.
I love it. I think that's fantastic. I like the fact that they're trying to differentiate themselves and to be different. And the other thing is too, I think you hit on it. Who's the customer? A lot of cases people think their customer is the student, the incoming student. But I think they recognize that the customer is actually the one paying the $50,000 a year, right? A parent has to be like, yeah, this is the place where I want my son or daughter to spend the next 4 years. They're safe, good food, good education, it's, a Disney World type atmosphere, right? Yeah, if you have money and you want your child to be safe, this seems like a good place to send them.
And there's a huge teaching point right there with what my buddy JR just said. And that is like, so there's the customer,
yes,
or who you perceive as the customer, the user of your product or service. But then there's also the economic buyer. A lot of times you're focusing your efforts on paying attention to the customer, and they're not necessarily the decision maker. The economic buyer is. So if anything you do caters towards kids, economic buyers, mom and dad, and you need to tailor your messaging and your marketing, your value proposition to them.
Yep. Who's your customer? Yeah.
But wait, there's more. If you're one of the first 500 callers, you get 2 X Factor colleges.
Yes.
So I'm going to give you the short version of the other X Factor college, I believe. John, do you know where Berea, Kentucky is?
I do not, but I imagine it's somewhere near a bourbon distillery. At least I hope.
Or a meth lab. Yes.
So
Berea, Kentucky is the home of Berea College. Berea College is the only of America's top colleges, the only one that awards every enrolled student a no tuition promise. No student pays for tuition. So you think of the student loan crisis, the crippling debt kids come out of college with today. And again, this is X Factor because they're doing the exact opposite that every other university in America is doing. Instead of like overcharging, charging even more, and just playing that kind of arms race that all these schools are playing that game with facilities. Berea College has said every student's going to have a job on campus, and they're basically going to pay for themselves through community service and performing a job on campus. It could be working in food service, could be working on the grounds, could be a lot of different things.
So literally, you go to school for free. You basically just have a job throughout college.
You have a part-time job. And if you think about how many kids are going to school somewhere and have a part-time job anyway, you may as well go to school somewhere tuition free and have a part-time job.
I mean, I had a job all the way through college, and that school didn't pay for any of my tuition. Yeah.
They call it work study on steroids. Every student has a job on campus, and its labor program is like a work study on steroids. Interesting.
That's cool.
A great business model, because I think there's a lot of people who can't afford the $50,000 a year tuition, but they still want to go to a safe, good school that they get a good education at. So this is sounds like a really different alternative. Again, how do you stand out as a small university, right? We're going to do things differently. Instead of charging a bunch of money, we're going to use our students as staff in the campus diner, in the library, in the, what have you. So
and the value proposition is very similar. You're getting a private liberal arts education at an elite institution that only accepts 30% of its applicants. And the average cost after financial aid, $1,964 a year.
Oh my gosh.
Love it. That's awesome.
Yeah. And then you have other students coming out of college with $100,000 in debt.
Yeah. Wow. That's like the minimum. That's like the jumping off point.
Yeah.
So I just think how does your product or service solve a problem? Think about how theirs solves that student loan crisis problem for families.
That's awesome.
I know my kid will be applying there.
Yeah, well, exactly. Yeah. That's fantastic. I like it. I mean, I think the other thing, I think it really boils down to like, when I was going to school, I told my parents I want to go become an engineer. And they were like, well, and I want to go to Worcester Polytech, I mentioned. They said, well, how are you going to do that? We have no money. Well, I don't remember Berea College back then, but to me, that's why I went into the Navy. I got a military scholarship and they paid for college, right? So I basically went to school for free, essentially. Well, other than spending 5 years of my life wearing the uniform. But if this was an alternative back then, and I saw that would certainly be a good alternative for someone like me in the circumstances I was in. So I love it.
You think about all these politicians railing, for free college, free community college,
right,
free 4-year college for everybody. So like, if you're think about how you treat something you get for free.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I mean, compare how you treat a rental car to
Yeah.
a car you own and you're making payments on.
100%.
There's no skin in the game, and you can get a very high elite education at this place. You have a skin in the game by working there.
Yeah. Yeah.
And if you know that you'll have to help clean up the grounds, you'll be less likely to litter.
Yep.
You'll be less likely to cut corners around in the grass instead of walking on the sidewalk. You'll take better care of things in the dorms and dining hall because you and your peers are responsible for making sure that place is shiny and standing tall. Just super impressive, that whole concept.
And here's an unpopular statement I'll say, and some people might get offended by this, but as a hiring manager,
that was a very subtle trigger warning that he just issued for you folks. So if you're a snowflake, you're about to melt.
I'm just saying that
have to scrape you up off the ground.
People may not like to hear this, but I would say this as a hiring manager, I would prefer to hire somebody who spent the last 4 years working for their degree and doing it on their own and earning it on their own and having pride of having done it by themselves versus, I know, again, this could offend some people, mom and dad paying $50,000 a year for a higher education. Who do you think is going to be coming into my workforce and wanting to work hard and impress me as a boss?
Yeah, I've always said there's a big difference between earning a degree and receiving an education.
Yep.
To your point.
Yep. So I don't know. It's a little. Some people may not like that, but that's just the way I feel.
So, JR.
Yes, sir.
Enough about me and my wonderful ideas.
Yes.
If you could sit a little higher in your seat for those watching on YouTube, people could see what you're wearing.
Oh yeah, I'm wearing.
And I often get messages, in my inbox. People try and slide into my DMs, and they're like, "What's your co-host wearing? We want to know. We're listening on iTunes or Spotify. We want to know what Jon Rennie was wearing."
Yeah, I am wearing.
What is Jon Rennie wearing, and how does that relate to what we're about to talk about?
I'm wearing a 17.
Nothing but a smile.
I'm wearing an 18-year-old T-shirt. Is what I'm wearing. It's a T-shirt from Cambridge University in the UK, where I actually went to school for a master's degree. So, and that's the X Factor University I'd like to talk about today, just because it's so unique and different. So,
what was your master's degree in?
Manufacturing engineering.
And your undergrad was double major in sex education and theology. Is that correct?
100%. How did
That's
you
what
know?
I thought. Yeah.
I was a mechanical engineer in undergrad school. So.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So you've been lying to me these many years.
Yes, I was. Absolutely. No, I now for something completely different, I should say. We're going to talk a little bit about what I think is an X Factor university, and that's
you're
Cambridge.
Completely different. All right.
Yes, 100%. This is the University of Cambridge, which was founded in 1209.
BC or AD?
AD.
Okay.
So it is the second oldest university in the English-speaking world, and in the world's fourth oldest surviving university. It's one of the original. It's the OG of universities, and it's a pretty cool thing. So it was formed in 1209, and the only other universities before that were the University of Bologna.
Phoenix?
Italy. No,
University of Phoenix.
close. University of
DeVry?
Bologna in Italy.
Is
Then
that a truck
Oxford.
driving school?
What's that?
University of Bologna is that a truck driving school?
It is. It is in Italy. Oxford, which was founded in 1096, and then the University of Salamanca in Spain. That was in 1134, and then Cambridge at 1209. So, really early age, one of the first universities, and it's kind of cool place. Having gone there, it's kind of like a medieval town that hasn't really changed much since the 1209. Obviously, they've built up new buildings and all that, but it just has a lot of history, a lot of tradition, and it's a really amazing place. And what's interesting is how it was founded. And the reason it was founded because there was a dispute at Oxford. Oxford was another university in the UK, one of the originals, right? And turns out that
the Oxford English Dictionary.
You've heard about it, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Turns out there was there was a woman who died in the town of Oxford, and that the townspeople blamed 3 Oxford students for doing it, and they hung them in the town square. This is,
wow.
Justice in the 1100s, I guess. And so some of the students left and started universities in Paris and in Oxford or in Cambridge, and that's how it got started. Was actually students leaving from Oxford because their buddies got hung in the town square. So interesting origins to Cambridge.
And folks, let's clarify here. Those 3 Oxford students got hung.
They weren't
hung. They got hung.
Yeah. There's a big difference.
You see those 3 Oxford students in the town square? Damn, they're hung. No, they got hung. They
got hung. Absolutely. So Cambridge University, a little bit about it. 121 Nobel laureates came from there. So 14 prime ministers, British prime ministers, 194 Olympic medals have been awarded to graduates of Cambridge. And here's some noted graduates. Charles Darwin, of the famed evolution stuff. Robert Oppenheimer, nuclear bombs, right? My background. Stephen Hawking, right? Quantum mechanics, you know him. Lord Kelvin. How about Lord Kelvin? You know what he did?
He's the first half of the dynamic duo, Calvin and Hobbes.
Close. He is part of a dynamic duo of the first and second laws of thermodynamics. He actually wrote those. So
I was real close.
You were very close. How about Sir Isaac Newton? You remember what he did?
Yeah, he made those fig cookies.
Wait, what? No.
Fig Newtons.
No, it's not Fig Newton. It's Isaac Newton. Gravity.
Yeah,
he discovered gravity.
He invented the fig cookies. And they're called Fig Newtons for a reason. Hello.
Alan Turing, which was the father of computer science and artificial intelligence. Ray Dolby. You know Ray Dolby, right?
He blinded me with science.
That's it. I knew you were going to get that. Thank you.
Thomas Dolby.
That's Thomas Dolby. He invented
Ray's twin brother.
Dolby noise reduction.
Parker has no idea what I just referenced.
Yeah, I literally
blinded me with science.
Science.
So some other graduates, John Cleese. That's why I said there's now time for something completely different. John Cleese of the famed Monty Python, Flying Circus. Robert Frost, Ian McClellan, Gandalf, anyways, Prince Charles. And finally, Sacha Baron Cohen is a graduate of Cambridge University.
So hang on, John. Let's go back to that 129. You just rattled off. You just name dropped like it's your job. You said there are 129 something or others.
Nobel laureates, yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
14 what?
British prime ministers.
And then 194 what?
Olympic medal winners.
And that, you see, you have all of that talent.
Yeah.
And you still manage to lose the American Revolution to a bunch of farmers.
It is
pathetic.
True. It is true.
And let's send them a participation trophy for the for their role played in the American Revolution.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Hashtag
I was there.
America.
I was there during a couple of 4th of Julys, and they gave me a lot of crap about it when I was over there. So, but I think the one thing, the reason it stands out to me is one is just because it's so original. It's one of the original founding universities of, you know, one of the first places of higher education. All these people have gone through there and have impacted the world, right? And this thing has, you know, this university has been there and it stays there and it continues to be there. And you think about the people who have gone through those walls and how they've impacted history. You know, some of the names I just threw out there, whether it's, you know, poets, whether it's scientists, whether it's actors. I mean, just an amazing amount of people who have gone through those 4 walls and, you know, and have impacted the world, right? And so I think that makes it an X factor because it's impacted history, it's impacted the world, and you know, and it's been there for a long time, and it continues to be there. You know, so you know, they say most companies, you know, fail after 5 years, right? And here's something that's been around for what 800 years and still going.
And to think that it was founded 427 years before the first college in America was founded, which is Harvard University.
Harvard. Yeah.
And it's inferior to Harvard. Harvard is thought of, no offense, Harvard is thought of as the foremost academic institution in the world. So I'm very America first, if you hadn't noticed. I'm very pro-America. No offense, Cambridge.
I'm pro-America too. That's why I was
not sorry.
So let me tell you one thing about if you're pro-America, why you like Cambridge, and one is World War II.
There's Cambridge, Massachusetts.
Yeah, there is that. Yes,
which is where Harvard is.
Our fair city. If you watched Click and Clack, the Tappet Brothers, they would call they're from Cambridge, Mass. So one of the things I like about it is that there's actually an American military cemetery in Cambridge. So Cambridge actually donated a very large piece of land for a lot of the sailors and airmen that died during World War II that left from air bases that were close to Cambridge. And it's actually a piece of American soil. Yeah, there's a piece of American soil in Cambridge that is the American World War II cemetery. And it's a place I used to go to. I probably went to about 4 different times while I was studying over there. It's an amazing place. And it's all Americans that are buried there in Cambridge. So, you know, my shout out to the university for doing something like that and donating the land for these heroes that during World War II. So something, again, that made me, and it's kind of cool. The pubs inside the old town of Cambridge, there's places on the ceiling where you can see where the American airmen used lighters, and they wrote their names on the ceiling of some of these pubs. And so where they would hang out in the pubs before they would do their raids on Germany and what have you. So it has an American influence in the town as well. So you can be pro-American and pro-Cambridge at the same time. So
that's good.
Yeah, but I just think it's an OG college. It's an OG university, and it's kind of a cool. I was lucky enough to go there, and it was a kind of a cool experience. And yeah, I definitely an X Factor type of place.
Awesome. I think the fascinating part of all that, I was joking with you about the 129, 14, 194, like the ability to really sell tradition of excellence, the pedigree from which you will be associated with if you attend here is unparalleled.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
It's a cool place. So, and yeah, it's kind of like X Factor how I got in too. So it's kind of like I said, I got lucky.
How did you get in, John?
The company I was working for had a program they were offering to get into this master's program. They just launched it, and they picked 4 people around the world. I worked for a global company. They picked 4 people around the world to apply for this program. And myself and one other American, we got our applications in first. And there was one from Germany and one from Italy that didn't get their application in, and they missed the deadline. And just because they missed the deadline, they picked us, the 2 Americans, to go. And so it wasn't necessarily that I was the best, but I just happened to be on time. So, and I got picked and went. Got a chance to go full scholarship, 100%, and company paid for it. Pretty awesome experience.
It wasn't Aunt Lori. She didn't hire a college consultant to get you in. Wasn't that
Oh yeah, right.
Lori McLaughlin? What was her name in the TV show?
Yeah. I was on the rowing team or something. Whatever. What was it? Yeah.
Air quotes rowing team, right?
Rowing team. Exactly.
Becky. It was Aunt Becky.
Aunt Becky.
Yeah.
Right. Aunt Becky was.
Aunt Becky didn't get you in from Full House.
No,
Okay.
but I did get rather lucky. So, but sometimes it's better to be lucky than good.
Are you allowed to talk about that?
What's that?
About the time you got lucky at Cambridge University. I can't even believe you brought that up. You're so buttoned up on this pod. Do you want to talk about this? This sounds like it's story time.
No, it's not.
Tell us about the time you got lucky at Cambridge.
I got lucky to get into Cambridge.
Oh, to get in. Okay.
But that being said, cool place. Yep.
Awesome. Yeah, the kind of interesting contrast in the institutions we shared. Yeah.
Yep.
So it's X Factor institutions. I wonder if college is even going to be a thing in a few years.
You make a really good point.
Unless you need a pre-professional degree, like pre-med, pre-dental, pre-law.
Yep.
Pre-veterinary. Do you really need undergraduate education?
Well,
when you have YouTube.
I know you have YouTube, you have so many resources out there. You like to talk about it, and I agree with it. The Dashboard University, how much can you learn just in your car driving around? That's probably better than anything you can find in higher education. So I think you're right. I think that at some point, and first of all, it's overpriced, right? And the value for the dollar really isn't there. Like how many people can really earn a job and pay back their investment, right? The most of the college degrees, you can't even get a job where you can pay back what you put into it, right?
Yep.
So yeah, I think there's going to come a day where we don't care where you went to school.
Yeah.
It's not going to matter.
We can't all go to Cambridge,
Yeah. Just to kind of also put in the perspective, Elon Musk being one of the most renowned and famous people of our time right now.
Let's be honest. The only reason people know him is he smoked weed on Joe Rogan's podcast. But go ahead.
Well, I'm a huge fan of him, and he one of his biggest quotes was he said he had tweeted out, he's like, don't confuse schooling with education. I didn't go to Harvard, but the people that work for me did.
How about that?
I think is very, very true. And he's like a huge.
I'll quote another famous individual who recently tweeted, "Don't believe everything you read on the internet," and that was Abraham Lincoln.
Yeah, well,
no. Okay. Parker didn't believe that one.
Nope.
We didn't hear. I actually believe you, John. So true.
Actually.
So yeah, that's X Factor institutions, and it might be a couple of years from now, and we might be talking about the fact that there's something that has replaced X Factor institutions when it comes to professional development for our youth.
Yep.
And learning. So, John, what do we want people to do with this podcast after they've consumed it?
Well, first of all,
there's certain people who are gonna do these things,
and
without us prompting them, because they're called freaking P1 listeners.
Yeah, the P1 listeners, we don't have to say a word. They know exactly what to do. They're part of the program. They know exactly what to do. They're going to press like. They're going to share. They're going to tell their friends and family about it. That's pretty straightforward, easy. But for those of you who are out of the family, they haven't really joined, haven't really become part of the P1 community, that's what you need to do. If you want to be part of the community, you've got to like it. You got to share it. You got to talk about it. You got to put it up on your social media feed. You let people know about this crazy group of guys that come out in here and talk about the things that are the differentiators in business and in life. Like,
Yeah, if you're not in a family, like John said, like you're in the foster care system
no, it's not good.
and you're bouncing around from home to home. If you want us to adopt you,
Yeah.
you need to start sharing this freaking podcast up.
Yeah.
You need to start telling everyone, posting it on social media. That'll get you in the family.
And what people probably don't know is that those that are loyal and that are a part of the P1 community have gotten all sorts of stuff in the mail recently. You know, they've gotten some Bottom Gun coffee, right? Our sponsor. They've gotten books from Coach Brew and myself. They've gotten
a box of poop with glitter in it.
A box of poop.
Wait,
did we send that out?
Wait,
we weren't supposed to.
What episode was that, Parker?
The last episode
X Factor
number
Technology.
18.
Episode 18. And this is episode 19.
Yep.
So we didn't really send a box of poop with glitter in it to a listener, but that was a subtle way for me to get you to go back and listen to episode 18 if you haven't already, because we do talk about that service that a company provides. Geniuses. Thank you.
Which you can also, at the end of this clip, just click the link. It'll be at the end of this video. Click the link. It'll take you to episode number 18, and you can watch that too.
I'm not sure where I am in the Brady Bunch squares. It always looks different.
I'm never sure where you are. You are a moving target. You don't show up on our radar or our sonar.
Yep.
You're like a stealth underwater killing machine.
Yes.
A nuclear powered stealth underwater killing machine. Jon Rennie is.
Yep.
Well,
what can I say?
Episode 19.
And there you have it. You, the unwashed masses, have gotten your marching orders.
Yep.
Share this up. Become a part of the family. You might win some fabulous prizes.
Yep. And no poop. We will not send poop.
No poop.
We promise. No poop.
We'll send you something maybe that'll help make you poop. Coffee is a great laxative.
Shout out to Bottom Gun Coffee.
There you have it. And there it is, folks. We'll catch you in the next episode. If you haven't watched and listened to the other previous 18 episodes, I mean, that's like call in sick from work for a day or two and just get caught up. Okay. And just especially if you hate your job or your boss is a dick, just call in sick and get paid to watch every episode of our podcast.
Yep. Binge watch it. You'll love it.
Punish your boss's bad behavior and do it like the most inopportune time for them. Like they need you to lead a big meeting, something, anything.
Yep.
Make sure to send your boss poop too.
You didn't just hear that from us. You didn't. That's it, folks.
That's it.
Great hanging out with you. Shout out to all the fabulous institutions we referenced, but most importantly, shout out to you for investing your time and listening to our random musings. Catch you in the next episode. Thank you.
Take care.
Good night now. Even if it's morning, good night now.